is real. So there's mass quarantine all around the United States. So I thought I would just have a little fun and do a slightly different video to my channel. And right now I'm playing live poker. I'm not going to say which site this is, but I figured I could change my channel up and actually play some poker. Even though my channel is about law, I figure it needs a little fun, a little spice here and there. So poker to me just kind of fits. And the reason I say this is that poker is a little bit of luck and some strategy. So I guess I'm going to see if I can have a successful poker session here. And long term, I want to see if I can maybe come up with strategies or basically help other people with strategies for playing poker in general. So now I am online, and online is always tough in my opinion from live play. When you play a person live, you get a chance to look in his face, and you get a chance to get tails, and you get a chance to invoke emotion. There's a lot of things that happens with live play. With online play, you don't really have any live tails and things of that nature. So right now I'm just waiting to post my big blind, and I'm basically going to play from there. But I'm going to, I guess I'm not waiting to post my big blind. So basically I got 2 of diamonds, 4 of hearts. It's a pretty bad hand, right? You know, it's a trash hand, so I'm not going to do anything special here. I'm basically just going to fold if I get raised. If not, then I'm just going to hope for a really good flop to see if I can get something spectacular, but I'm not really looking. So there's a raise, and he's on the big blind, right? So the problem with calling out of position with hands like this, if you don't hit, I'm just going to fold here. If you don't hit the hand, right, I would have to hit something spectacular. If he has ace, king, king, queen, queen, jack, anything like that, if he misses, he's still going to beat me. So it looks like number 7 has basically called. Hopefully he has a good hand. Otherwise, this guy's going to raise. Again, I suspect he's going to raise if he checks. Let's see what happens. He checks. Let's see if he raises. Let's see if he takes advantage of his position. Interesting. And I hit the 2. I hit the 2. Maybe the 2 is a winner. I don't know. But I wouldn't want to be out of position playing with 2-4. Oh, so maybe number 7 was trying to trap. Who knows? Number 7 wins the hand. Okay, so let's see what I get now. 5-9, unsuited, pretty crappy hand. I'm just gonna fold. And you know what? In general, when it comes down to playing poker, I think you really have to have a good strategy. What I like to do, I like to feel the table out, and I like to get a sense for how the table is playing. And first, I like to base my strategy on the table, right? So I get a feel for how the table is playing, and then I adjust my strategy down from there. If I'm in a hand with a particular player and I have information on that player, I'll play based on that player. But for the most part, the table, the overall psychology of all the people sitting at the table is really going to dictate the game, right? And maybe I'll show you once I get a little bit more information on how these guys are playing now. And right now it looks like everyone is pretty loose. You get a lot of callers before the flop, and basically after the flop it looks like you get a little action. But let's just see how it goes. So he's raising here. I'm wondering what he could possibly have. He's raising when the 8 came out. I didn't catch what he did before that, but basically he's either representing the queen, or maybe he has a 2 pair, or maybe it's just a bluff. Who knows? Okay, I'm in the big blind. Another subpar hand. Hopefully nobody raises. With something like this, I could probably get it straight. I could definitely, I'm not going to get a flush. I mean, a flush could be possible, but it's going to be a backdoor flush, and it's probably going to be the weakest type of flush. So hopefully nobody raises, and then I get a chance to play this hand. I don't really want to bluff because I'm out of position. And if the flop comes, and maybe if I hit something spectacular, see, and again, you're getting a lot of callers. So far, I think the psychology of this table is that people genuinely want to play. I'm just going to check here. So I didn't hit anything. So, oh God, I didn't hit anything. So I'm just going to check. And if anyone bets, I'm just going to fold. I don't really have any real chance of winning the hand unless the table is soft. And right now, based on how everybody is calling, to me it just seems like everybody wants to play. So even if I bet, I have the feeling that people are just going to call, right? Especially since you have a straight draw out there, 8, 9, 10. If a guy has a jack in his hand, he'll be hoping for a queen or 7. If he has a 7, he'll be hoping for a jack. So I'm just going to fold. Basically, you can't call, in my opinion. I wouldn't call unless I had either, hey, I hit the 6, but I think the 6 is not going to be enough. I wouldn't call unless I had a straight draw, which the straight is gone. Ace jack versus a queen. So he had a queen. He bluffed with his straight draw. All right, so now finally I have a hand. It's not the best hand, but I feel like it's a hand I can bluff with. And if they don't fall for the bluff, maybe I can get another 7 on the flop, and then I can really just go crazy. So I'm just going to go ahead and make a strong bluff. I am going to raise 150 to see if I can scare everybody off. And I think I raised a little bit too much, but this will be telling because basically if everybody folds, it tells me what amount people are willing to fold to. So I got 1 caller, 2 callers. All right, so I didn't hit anything, but there's a flush draw, which is kind of dangerous. I'm just going to check because there's a flush draw. There's also a straight draw. And if they have either a club in their hand or maybe a 3 or 6, they're probably going to call. So I'm just going to check. I really hoped that it would be a low flop like this and then I could just raise. But for now, I'm just going to check. We'll see what happens. Now, we know this guy likes to be really aggressive. So I'm going to raise. And the reason I'm going to raise, I'm going to bet. The reason I'm going to bet here, I'm going to bet pretty hard. Hopefully, I don't get a call. If I get a 6 and no one has a flush, then I win. So he calls. So it's pretty much game over for me. I'm just going to check and fold at this point. See what he does. He goes all in. So typically in a situation like this, that tells me he has it and he wants to get paid. I made a mistake of betting when I shouldn't have. So either he had the flush or he called the straight. I'm just going to go ahead and let him have it and fight another day. So already I'm down about $5. I think I overplayed my pairs. I think the initial bet was good, but after the initial bet, I should have just checked all the way out and just folded with any type of raise. So right now I have the button. Let's see what happens. Let's see what I get. And for those of you who don't know how to play poker, basically the reason the button is so, I got a crappy hand here. The reason the button is so important because I'm going to raise. Let's see if I can bluff with my button. The button is important because you're the last person to act. And if you're the last person to act, you get a chance to see how everyone plays their hand. And if you get a chance to sniff out fear and you get a chance to see how comfortable they are with, their hand. I'm just going to check. I don't really have anything, and there was a really bad experience from the last bluff, so I'm just gonna check to see if I can wait and see if somebody bets. So there's a straight draw. I want to bluff this, but if a person has a 9, queen 9, or 7-9, they basically have it. So I want to bluff it. Let's see what happens if I bluff it. And I got called. So he either has, I'm guessing he has an 8 or 10 or even a draw. So I'm going to check, and that's pretty much it. So I just bluffed twice in a row, and it cost me a lot of money. So at this point, yeah, I'm just going to fold. Maybe he's full of it. Maybe he has it. I don't know. He was pretty aggressive last time. So I just bluffed like twice in a row. So at this point, it's costing me a lot of money. I started off with $25, and now, I'm down to $17.25. At this point, I'm just going to play it cool. I'm going to not bluff anymore because it's becoming costly. So at this point, I'm just going to just play it cool and just hopefully I can hit something big. So this might be a good hand. I have a chance at a flush draw. So long as no one has Jack 3 and has a full house, I'm just going to check here. So I need a spade. I need a spade. I'm not even going to try to bluff this. A person with a jack wouldn't really. Should I call here? I'm going to call. It's probably a bad move. I'm going to call to see if I can get another spade. But if he has something like ace jack, he's good. So no spade. It's pretty much over. Let's see if he bets. If he doesn't bet, maybe I'll think about bluffing it. He bets, and a bluff would have been bad anyway. So I'm just going to fold. He has either the ace, or he has an ace jack, or he has a jack. So I'm losing a lot of blood right here, down to 16 bucks. So at this point, I really need to get a really good hand. Bluffing doesn't seem like it's going to work at this table. Playing crappy hands is probably not the way to go at this point. So I'm just going to just chill and just watch how other people are playing and see if I can pick up some notes on folks. Two, three, unsuited and out of position. No, thank you. See, at this table, nobody is willing to fold. No one is really playing like ABC 1, 2, 3 in the sense that they're waiting for really solid hands. I would have hit the 2, but I don't think the 2 would have been enough because there's a straight draw and then there's a jack out there. So everyone really wants to play. Everyone is probably under quarantine. They're at home, cooped up, nowhere to go, nothing to do. So, they want to play some poker. So at this point, I think the best strategy for me at this table is just to wait for a really good solid hand, a solid pair, or a good drawing hand. I mean, you guys saw when I had the pocket 7s, and then I got a little bit too aggressive, and I could have even just, called that guy's all in, but if he's going all in, to me, it just seems like he's just trying to get paid. So I guess with this table, I'm just reduced to waiting for a really good hand. And if I don't get a really good hand in the next 20 minutes, then I think the best thing to do is just to end this session and just cash out with whatever I have and just start at another table. Because ace 10, okay, so now we have something to work with. I'm in a big blind. These two people are not actually playing, so that's why I'm in the big blind. So he raises 25 cents. I don't want to go too crazy, so I'm just going to call here and hope for either a straight or a flush. Oh, wow. Okay, so we have a decision to make. So he raised, right? And he's raised a pretty hefty amount. Now, typically a person is going to raise like this when they have a solid hand. I'm going to choose a fold here, and I'll explain why. Basically, a raise like that from a good player, oh my God. Oh, damn. I would have had the nuts. Oh my God. Yeah, it sucks, but I still think I made the best move because you don't know what the flop is going to be. And the guy raises like that. Typically, he has ace king, ace queen, king queen, or something like that. And basically, I only have one face card at that point. So I feel comfortable with the fold. It sucks that I would have had the nuts because I could have cleaned them out. I mean, but you know, that's poker. Sometimes you call and then you hit big, and then sometimes you don't call and then you miss big. But I think proper strategy in a long run will basically help you stack up, right? All right, so only 15 cents to call. I have a pretty marginal hand. 3-5 is trash, but I'm gonna call anyway. Let's see what happens. Yeah, that hand is no good. See, with a hand like this, I would try to bluff it, but the problem with trying to bluff it is that you have a flush draw. You also have a straight draw. I'm just going to pre-fold. So anyone with a flush draw or straight draw is going to call automatically. And they're probably going to be committed to go all the way to the river. So I don't want to get myself in trouble. I'm just going to fold. So there's a straight. So if a person has ace jack in the hand, they win. They have the nuts at this point. So now you just need a jack. Anybody with a jack in the hand basically wins. We're going to have to assume that he has a jack because he basically popped it for 410. So he's representing a jack. And you can't call unless you have a jack, or you just believe the guy's full of it. And they both have a jack. So he actually had it all along. Deuce 9, I would typically try to bluff with this hand, but Deuce 9 is spades. It's suited. You can't get it straight with both cards, but it's suited. We already have a razor. I do have the button, which is sometimes an advantage, but because I'm just doing really bad, I'm just going to fold, and I'm just going to wait, hopefully, for a really good hand. God, I pray I get a good hand sometime soon. It's interesting, he only bets 25 cents. He raises 150. Basically, he's either saying that he wants to try to steal it or he has a monster hand. Here's my 9, but of course a 9 is not going to be enough with an ace and a jack on the board. I doubt that all three players are playing with a 3. So you probably have someone with a gut shot straight, or they have either ace or jack. I think he has a jack because he only bets 20. He bets a very small amount. And he's just trying to see if his hand is good. Let's see if he has a jack or not. Let's see. And he bluffs it. It's got to be a bluff. Yep, told you. All right, so now I have ace 8 of clubs. I'm hoping I can play this if nobody raises. I'm just going to creep in. Damn. Yeah, I'm gonna have to let this one go. I want to play it, but I only have one face card, which is the ace, and it's gonna be hard to stay in the game with just an ace, especially if I miss. So I'm just gonna let it go and just hope another flush doesn't hit. It was a good fold. So long term, when you're drawing, in my opinion, it's always good to fold pre-flop if you don't have a made hand like a big pocket pair, aces, kings, queens, or jacks, or something like that. Or if you don't have a really good drawing hand like ace, king, king, queen, jack, queen, or whatever. If you don't have a really good drawing hand, it's good to fold, because basically there's a very slim chance that you'll hit on the flop. Like that last flop that you guys saw, there's a very good small chance that you're going to hit something like that. So it's always good to fold when the pot is being raised. Sometimes you make an exception when there's odds, meaning there's so much money in the pot that you have to pay a minimum amount to win a big pot. But you can get in trouble with that, because if someone bets half your stack and then 5 or 6 other people call, then you're going to call thinking that you're going to have a really good chance of winning, but 9 times out of 10 you're going to miss, right? And long term, that habit is going to make you lose a lot of money. Good times to call for odds, in my opinion, is when the amount that you have to call isn't that much. So let's say you have 20 bucks and someone raises 50 cents. You have a decent drawing hand, then maybe it's okay to call. But when they raise, 2 to 3 times the big blind, to me it just seems like I'm just going to fold. 4 of diamond, 10 of clubs, nothing I can do with that. And I'm out of position. So, yeah, you know what? I made a mistake at this table. I'm not going to lie. I think I should have just sat back and waited and observed how the table was playing. I think one of the big problems with poker, well, everyone has their own issues with poker, right? So people have different vulnerabilities. My vulnerability is basically I have impulse control problems. So I get excited that I'm playing, and I'll get a really good trash hand, and then I'll be like, oh, I'll see if I can bluff with this. And I think just like over long term, that strategy just really gets me in trouble. I think the best thing to do a lot of times is just come to the table, wait and see how the table's playing out, and basically adjust your strategy from there. So if I had waited, I would have saw that this table is loose aggressive, right? So basically you get at least 3 to 4 callers every flop, and I would love to play this hand, but I feel that I'm too far out of position. I'm just going to fold. And when I say out of position, if I call this 25 cents, I still have to get to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players, and there's always a chance that someone could raise, because they'll see all the money that's on the table, and then they'll just raise hoping someone will fold, and then they'll just try to figure out how they can get rid of the other people as they go along. So yeah, so it's a slightly loose table. You always have 3 to 4 people calling every flop. And then once the flop comes out, pre-flop, you have 3 to 4 people calling. Once the flop comes out, people will stay in a hand if they feel that they can outdraw you, right? So in situations like that, it's always good to just tighten up and not be overly aggressive. So the one thing I haven't done so far is that I haven't profiled anybody. So I'm going to see if I can profile a player and basically mark him so that I'll have notes on that player when I get into a hand with them. If you were playing a live game and you're sitting in front of people, to me it seems like you can kind of watch a person and you can watch their mannerisms. You can watch their overall demeanor. You can even watch how they throw the chips down on the table. Watch how they throw the cards when they fold. There's a lot of things that you can pay attention to, and then you can draw some type of baseline, and then when they act outside of that baseline, then you can start to draw some assumptions, right? It's not a perfect science, but you can draw assumptions as to whether or not that person is folding because they're strong, or they're folding. No one folds when they're strong. They're folding because they have a hand, but they don't believe they have the best hand. So they're really a tight player, so you can gauge that. I'm actually going to call here. I folded way too many of these ace garbage hands. You can get a straight with this. You can get a flush with this. I'm just going to call and hope no one raises. I know it's a bad move. I'm out of position. This is called the under the gun position for those that don't know. It's a bad call. We have a raise already. I still may call. Let's see how it goes. It's only 50 cents extra. I got myself into this. I should have folded from the get-go. But now that I'm in, I'm just going to call the 50 cents and see what I have. I don't feel that I could raise because at this is a type of table where people, I feel like they're just going to call you anyway. So now I have a gut shot. I think I'm just going to bluff this 50 cent, but it's really not a bluff. It's really a protection bet. I'm saying, hey, I have something. If you don't have anything better, then the only thing you can do is call, right? But I really don't have anything, but it's really a bluff. Anyone that doesn't believe me can basically raise it. So I'm actually doing something I shouldn't be doing. I should really just wait and check fold. And right now I'm being a little bit aggressive to see if I can get a 3. If he raises, I'm just going to fold. But it just feels like, I haven't had a chance like this in a while. So no 3. I'm going to raise a little bit more this time. Continuation bet. I'm hoping that he doesn't raise. And I got my 3. Yeah. Now, first off, I'm just going to tell you this is a horrible strategy. So now it's really just a matter of what I feel like I milk him for. So I am going to go. I'm going to go $3. Let's see if he goes for it. Some people like to go all in and just hope that they call thinking that I'm full of it. Oh, now I can go all in. He must have a straight too. He didn't have a straight. Yes! Back in the game, baby! I'm back in the game! I'm back in the game. I think he had something like ace jack, king jack, and he was trying to milk it with one pair. And a lot of times when you hit your big pair, you really just gotta pop it and just get everybody out of the hand. And if you try to milk it and you only have a pair, I find that in my experience, a pair is not going to be enough. You're going to keep people in the hand that shouldn't be in the hand, and then they're going to mess around and get like a straight, like what you saw me get. Like, there's no way in the world I should have been in the hand. I suspect he had a really good hand because he raised pre-flop, so I can easily see him having ace jack or king jack or even queen jack or even jack 10. He hits the jack. He should have, even though it was jack 10, if it was jack 10, I'm just going to fold here. Now that I'm up, I started with 25, I'm up $6. I'm just going to tighten up and just be careful now because nobody's going to fold on this table. It's a loose, aggressive table. Sometimes the psychology of the table changes as people leave and go and come. Right now, it still feels like it's loose, aggressive, so I'm just going to basically tighten up. So you have to adjust your strategy according to the game. And right now, I just feel like this is the type of game you want to be tight and you want to wait for certain opportunities to play. The position that I'm in is not the best position to be in to play your hands. At a loose, aggressive table, you want to play as less hands as possible. He raises. I'm only in for 10 cents. I'm just going to go ahead and fold. So he re-raises, right? So that re-raise tells me he has either big pair or he has a big drawing hand. Let's see what it's going to be. So there's a king. I would have hit a king, but my kicker is pretty bad. Let's see what he does. So he's representing the king. He either has a 2 pair or a set or a king. So he's representing the king. Let's see if he gets callers. You can only call if you have a king or better. Okay. Let's see what happens now. He should hit it again. If he has a king, you have to hit it again. If he checks, it's a sign of weakness, and the other person is obligated. There it is, all in. Ace king. There it is. And the other guy had a set of nines. So I really feel bad for that guy. He's had really good hands both times around, and he basically lost. You know, that's the unfortunate thing about poker. You can play your hand perfectly, and you can still get broke off. So, I mean, it really doesn't matter. There's a lot of luck in this game. Sometimes if you play smartly, or if you play smart, you can come out ahead, but a lot of times not really. So he raises. It feels like I want to call with 9-10, but I'm just going to go ahead and fold. I really want to play this because it feels like I have an advantage. I have the button. I have 9-10, but I'm just going to have to give him credit for having a good hand, or he has his favorite hand, and there's no way I'm going to get him off of it unless I put a lot of money down. So I'm just going to fold. But, you know, I had position. There's my 9. I have top pair. Let's see what number 8 does. Number 8 either has a big pocket pair or he's bluffing. There's a flush. The flush and the straight. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So number 8 check on the turn on the 6 spades. So I think number 8 has a pair. Oh, he's trying to get paid. In my opinion, he's trying to get paid. So he either has. I mean, I'm not going to say the obvious is a straight or a flush, but I think it's actually probably going to be the king. Let's see if number 3 calls. I wouldn't call. I would just, oh, aces. Yep, told you. Knew he had a big pair. So this might be an opportunity to bluff. If nobody raises, I may be able to bluff this. I shouldn't be bluffing. I should just really just play my hand. But if no one raises, then I can pop it for he raises. So I have to fold. Again, the last time he raised, he didn't raise by that much, and he had pocket aces. So maybe we can label this guy if the hand plays out and he shows kings or queens or jacks. I would just label him as a super solid player, which is basically, so basically you have different broad categories of players. You have what's called a nit, which is someone who's only going to play solid hands, which is what I'm trying to do here, but you know, I'm being tipped it. Then you're going to have a passive person, right? Let me get this straight. So yeah, nit only plays solid hands, and then you have maniacs, which plays every hand that they possibly can get. Well, they'll play a lot of marginal hands, but they'll play them like too aggressively. I'm going to raise here, and here's why. I have 4-5 of hearts, not the best hand, but I have a chance for a straight, and I have a chance for a flush, and I have a decent position, 2 positions behind the button. I still have a lot of people to get through, but let's see if I can get somebody to fold. So I got 1 caller. Guy is actually in a position that's never good. Yeah, see, it's hard to bluff on this table. Yeah, so this is pretty much over. I can hope for a backdoor straight or backdoor flush, but I'm really just going to check fold here because you have a straight on the board. So if somebody has, I may bluff it. If no one bets, I'll bluff it. If he bets, I fold. he re-raises. So he's saying that he has ace queen or he has a 7. He has a 2 pair or he has a set. I'm sorry, he has a 2 pair or he has a trip. He definitely has a 7 in his hands because he's hitting it really hard. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we've seen him hit it hard before and he showed a really solid hand. So far you've seen none of my bluffs have really paid out. The only bluff that really paid out was kind of a semi-bluff when I had I'm just going to fold 5-10. I can't really do anything with that unsuited. The only bluff that really paid off was the one bluff where I had ace 5, I believe, in my hand or something like that. And then I just needed a 3. And I really wasn't bluffing. It was more of a protection bet to scare people from basically betting. And I was hoping that they would just simply call and then I would just be able to see if I get the 3. And you see that worked out. But other than that, bluffing is really not going to work here. Not at this table, because people want to play. They're quarantined, they're cooped up, and they just want to play some poker. So on this particular table, I think I am just going to play solid hands in position, or try to. Two of spades, 10 of clubs. It's not a very promising hand, so I'm just going to fold. I actually didn't even pay attention to what was going on there. Jack of clubs, 7 of diamonds. I could possibly make a straight with this, but I'm out of position, not suited. It's an aggressive table. It's a loose aggressive table, so it doesn't matter what I bet pre-flop. People are probably going to call anyway, so I'm just going to fold to keep me from getting myself in trouble. So this is what I mean when I say the table is loose. You have, what do you have? Like you have 7 people calling. Let's see how many people call this raise. I suspect you're going to get at least 2 people that's going to call this raise. Oh, I could be wrong. Can I get one more? No. The last 2. Last 2 folks. Got one caller. Let's see if he calls. He has to call because he has odds. He didn't call. He checks. Number 6 should rate that. There you go. Now he has to fold unless he has a queen. I don't think he has a queen. So that calling pre-flop, like I said, a lot of times it's kind of a gamble because he probably didn't even have anything, but because he's in position, he can bet and represent something. So now this is tricky. Now I should fold this hand. I should definitely fold this hand. But I'm out of position. This is the undergun position. You know what? I'm just going to fold. And the reason I'm folding is because I'm out of position. It's a loose, aggressive table. And let's say I hit the king. Even if I hit the king, people are still going to basically see he's already raised. He's already raised. But even if I hit the king and I bet it, people are not going to believe it. They're still going to play pretty aggressively. And I wouldn't have hit the king. So what could I have done at that point? I would have had to bluff it. And if he calls, you end up in the situation where I'm continuing to bluff, and this guy's just calling any and everything. See, I don't believe number 6 right now. It's hard to believe because the last hand he basically used the same strategy. He's really aggressive. Let's watch number 6 and see if he continues to play aggressive. Then we'll mark him as loose aggressive because he's playing a lot of hands. He's playing really aggressively. Just about every hand he plays, he's raising. Now this one I am going to call because I'm already in for 25 cents. It only costs 25 cents more. And I have odds. I'm going to call and hope for something spectacular like a straight. Nope, no straight. The only thing I can do is just fold at this point. There's no possibility with this hand. Four, 5. If no one raises, I'm going to call. But number 6 has already shown that he's aggressive. Let's see if he raises. Folds. I'm surprised. Let him have it. So he re-raises quite a bit. So he's representing aces, kings, ace, king. Let's see what it is. I would have hit the 4, but judging on number 9, this guy here, I think a 4 definitely would not be enough. There's also a flush draw. Either one of them could have a flush draw as well. He checked. Number 7 shows weakness by checking. He hits him again. And that's the problem with calling out a position, because if you check, even if the other person doesn't have anything, they get a chance to pretend like they got it. All right, so I have the button. I think I'm going to try to... Ooh! Pocket 9s. So pocket 9s, not the best pair, but in my opinion it's a pair. And when you have a pair, you can be a little aggressive. And not only do I have a pair, but I also have a button. There's 85 cents on the table. I'm just going to go ahead and raise to see if I can just take the 85 cents home. And if I get a caller, I'm going to have to assume that, well, this is a loose table, so even if a person calls, he can still have a can. But if I get a caller, I'm assuming that he has a decent hand, so an ace. If he doesn't bet, I'm going to hit him again and see if he folds. Probably hit him for like $2. Let's see. If he calls, I'm in trouble, because he either has an ace, and I don't want to spend a lot of money to get him out of the hand. He folds. So that worked out for me. 2-5. I'm going to let it go. So we're going to mark number 7 as loosey-goosey. So they've changed this platform up a lot. You used to be able to color code the actual notes, so the colors could mean you can identify colors with a certain type of player. Now I think I have to actually click and nothing is happening. So yeah, they've made this really difficult. So now I have to click on it to see the type of player he is. So loose, we'll say passive. Because to me, it just seems like he calls and then he just folds. He's not willing to fight for the hands once he's in the pot, even if he doesn't hit anything. Some people, if they call you and they don't hit and they don't even have a drawing possibility, you have some people that will just stay in the hand thinking that you're full of it, or they'll stay in the hand to try to scare you. And then when you check, even though you have position, if you check, they'll bet the next hand, because to them that's a sign of weakness and they'll figure that they have it. But this guy just seems to be loose. Now, number 7 bets, he either has an ace or a king. I wouldn't say he has a straight draw or even a flush draw. He definitely have an ace or a king. To me, he just seems to be loose. So he probably has a weak ace or even a weak king, but to him that's probably going to be good. But I don't know, maybe we just don't have enough information. Hopefully there's a showdown we can see. Oh, he's playing strong. Oh, so we have a flush on the board, so this is tricky. Flush and a straight. Let's see how this plays out. He must have a straight. Oh! Let's see what it is. Jack 10. Oh, fuck, we don't get to see his hand. I'm going to say he had a ace or a king, and he thought he was good. The other guy has a flush, so of course he's going to call. All right, Queen Jack, and we're not in the best position, but this is the best 2 face cards I've seen in a long time. I am going to play it hard and rough and see if I can get some people to fold. If no one calls, I'll be happy with the 35 cents. If I get a raise, I'll have to consider folding, because I'll just have to give the person credit for ace king or king queen, or basically I'll have to give them credit for just about every hand that dominates me. All right, so I hit my queen. So now in this situation, I don't want to play around with this. I want to try to get rid of both of them, or at least one of them. I'm definitely going to call, but I want to try to get rid of number 6. So I am going to raise in hopes that I get rid of number 6. If I don't get rid of him, then I'm going to probably be in trouble. Because if he doesn't fold, that means, there we go, Jack 8. Got him. Yes. All right. Number 7 has re-popped. So now we've seen what number 7 had. Number 7 had Jack 8 of diamonds. I can't remember, Jack 8 was unsuited. But basically, it's hard to say because he didn't really have that much money left. And a lot of times when you get down to the nitty gritty and you just have a few chips left, a lot of times people, they lose hope and they play overly aggressive with, trash hands. Even I'll do that, right? Like if I have very few chips left, I'll wait until I get an all-in hand. I don't know that I would have done what he did with Jack 8. I probably would have waited. I can't remember. If it was suited, maybe that was a good play because he's thinking he can get a flush, he can get a straight. But, the bottom line is when you have very few chips, a lot of times you're going to play a little bit more aggressive than you normally would. And sometimes you get impatient and you don't want to, at that point, wait for a really good hand. And you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I think a lot of times you're better off just simply cashing out, taking a break, and just coming back with a fresh mind and restack your chips, right? So if I was number 7 and I'm playing online poker, I would have just, see, he's still playing aggressive, right? He just went all in. The only way you can go all in is if you have the nuts. Maybe he had an 8. He has a 5, so no, he's good. Full house. So I don't know. I mean, if I was him, he's up $5 now. But in the earlier, Queen 10 of spades, horrible position, under the gun, loose aggressive table. On a table like this, you wouldn't want to play a hand like this. But I'm feeling like a sucker right now. I'm going to call, and I'm going to hope that no one basically raises. And by the way, I have my radiator on in the background, so if you hear whistling and such, basically you're listening to my radiator, so don't be alarmed. But yeah, so if I'm in a situation where my chips are down and I just can't seem to catch a break and nothing, God damn. This motherfucker. Okay, I'm gonna call this. Call this, and this is probably going to be a bad call. I do have odds, right? Because all I have to do is call 75 cents at a chance to win $2.75. But this can be a bad play long run because you're really hoping for a long shot, and typically the long shots don't play out, right? So you really want to be in a position where you raise. So number 7, I'm going to check in hopes that he checks, hope that he has a weak hand and he just takes a free card. But he's been losing a lot. He's probably going to feel like he hasn't. He's probably going to bet it. He's probably going to bet it hard. If he bets it, yeah, I'm going to fold. I'm just going to let him have it. I could stay in the hand and hope for a backdoor flush, or I can hope for a 9, but he's priced it so high that it's going to be really expensive to kind of like play it out. I think what I probably should have did was I should have just maybe, yeah, I'm going to fold here. I should have probably betted actually, and that me betting would have basically kept him in check, because unless he has an 8, he must have an 8. You have to have, there's no way that he can be that aggressive. Maybe they both have 8. Let's see what it is. Maybe Ace Jack. Damn. Yeah, see, number 7 wasn't careful. And basically you saw those 2 8s out there. The board was paired. And he should have just been a little bit more cautious. Yeah, so he's gone. So that's the best thing to do when you're losing a lot and nothing is going your way. A lot of times you really just have to take a break and go, if you're at home playing online, maybe go and get a sandwich or something. I'm gonna call this. It's a bad call, but it's only 25 cents, and I haven't been calling it a lot lately, so I'm just gonna go ahead and call it. But yeah, when you lose, and a lot of times it's good just to take a break. So I have a 7, but there's a flush draw and there's a straight draw. I'm going to play this safe, and I'm going to check fold all the way. Yeah, I'm going to fold. King 9, pretty crappy hand, out of position. Now, honestly, I would actually play King 9 in position, maybe if I had the button, or I was right behind the button, or maybe even 2 positions behind the button, because you can still get a straight with King 9. You can still bluff with King 9 pre-flop in hopes that you can hit either a straight draw or gut shot. And I really don't like to bluff with gut shots, but when you're in position, this gives you a little bit of bargaining room, or bullying room, if you will, because you're in position with some type of draw. But King 9 out of position or something. So usually when someone bets that big, they have a 2 pair or set. So it's hard to tell. It's almost impossible to tell whether a person has a 2 pair or a set. And maybe he just has an ace and he's just trying to get people off the game. Okay, so I am probably going to play 3 more hands, and then I'm going to end this session. Hopefully I can finish the session strong. We'll see. I definitely want to play this hand. 6-8 of spades. I feel like it's a good bluffing hand, even though this is not the table to be bluffing on. It seems like the chemistry of the table has changed a little bit, so I should be able to get away with this. Let's see. Let's go 175. And then if I get callers, there's always a chance of either getting, there's always a chance of getting a straight draw or a flush draw, or actually just getting a straight or flush, right? But the most important thing is that I have the button and I can wait to see how they play it. So I have Jack. I have absolutely nothing here, and it's hard to bluff this because someone can have a straight draw, someone could already have the straight, someone can have a flush draw. There's nothing I can do but get away from this hand. It'd be foolish for me to either call or try to rebluff because someone can easily have that. So, and plus I bet so high, $1.75, more than likely somebody has it. And definitely somebody has it now. Flush and the straight out there. King Jack. So he had the Jack and he caught the King. Another bluffing hand, 6-5 of spades. Again, the straight or the flush. So what we've seen this guy call my raise with King Jack. So I am going to say solid. I'm going to say tight, because I haven't really seen him play a lot of hands. He probably has, but I've not paid attention to him. So we have a raise already. I'm not going to re-raise, but I'm going to do a donkey move, and I'm just going to call in hopes of catching something. This guy must be away from the keyboard here. I would like to re-raise with this hand, but I'm afraid that if I re-raise, they may re-raise again. So let's just call. Oh, hit the 5. I don't think it's enough though. Let's see what happens. Hopefully I can just check it, because number 7 is in for 690. He only has 690 behind him. And there's a straight draw and a flush draw. I don't think either of them has a straight draw or a flush draw. $3. Feels like it's a bluff, but unfortunately, if I call, he's only got $3.81 left on the turn or the river. He's going to go all in, and I'll have to hope that he can't beat a 5. And to me, that doesn't seem like a strategy. So I'm just going to fold. Ace 5, again, it feels like I can bluff with this. Let me give it a shot. I'm gonna have to be careful. Number 7 is a little aggressive. We'll just go 150. See if I can take it down. So you guys can obviously see that I'm actually losing money here with lots of these bluffs. Yeah, this is not good. So if I don't hit the flop with either a draw or an actual pair, oh hell no, this is over. Yeah, that's over. I'm just gonna check fold. So I think the mistake I made in this session is I played too aggressive, and the problem with playing really aggressive on a loose aggressive table is that you're basically playing bingo. You can't really bluff anybody off a hand, and you can't really expect to win with some of the hands that I've been bluffing with. So we got checks all around. I would like to bluff it, but there's too many draws out there. There's a straight draw and there's two flush draws. He goes all in. I suspect he has jack shit. He has a really weak hand, like a 3. I'm gonna let him have it because I don't want to flip a coin flip and lose. And plus, I don't have anything, so I can't even. Ace king. God damn, he had ace king. That motherfucker. All right, one more hand, and then I'm going to call it. Let's see what we get. Deuce 5 of clubs. I can't really. I would probably call with this hand, but you know, I've been playing for an hour now, so at this point, I'm just going to call it a day. I'm slightly up. I started this table with about $25. I have $7.42, so I'm just going to call this a winning session. Could have quit when I had a little bit more, but you know, hey, what can you do? So that's it. So, you know, I'm going to start doing different things on my channel. Primarily, my channel is for law, but you know, I want to try to mix it up. I'm going to start playing poker and posting some poker videos. Maybe I'll start, you know, posting other different types of videos. I think I've also started posting some motivational materials. So basically, I'm probably going to post things that are not too far off subject from law. And the reason I think poker kind of fits into, you know, the whole law thing, because it's when you go into the courtroom and you're actually playing the game, right? You're playing chess or poker when you go into the courtroom, and you know, there's a lot of bluffing, there's a lot of strategy. So, you know, maybe this fits. And the beautiful thing about this is that it keeps my channel from being too uptight, right? So you guys let me know what you think. Do you think I should continue playing poker online and give you commentary on poker videos? I'm not even going to edit this. I'm just going to put it out there. But definitely leave your feedback and put your questions and comments below. Do you like this poker session? Should I do more? Let me know what you think. I want to hear from you. Please like, share, and subscribe. Take care.